Welcome to Just Saying episode 11. And now the SSA Rocket League podcast, replacing 180 milliseconds too late. And now the official podcast has got people. Bromeo and Sean, we're gonna take this forward. I'm not gonna ask how you are because I'm sure you're all fabulous, but we're right on the cusp of the new season. Is there anything in particular you're excited for?
I just want to say we haven't poured a beer out for 180 milliseconds. Where's the montage? Where's the time to say goodbye moment? I feel cheated here, GB.
You are cheated. And the first topic we're going to talk about actually is the branding of Just Saying, for that very reason. But Sean, give us your hello and introduction, and then we can get into the meat of it.
Well, hello everybody. You know what? I'm excited for Greybeard, and it's completely unrelated to everything coming up, but I'm excited for the downtime I finally have.
Okay, well, there's not going to be much of it, so yeah, enjoy it while it lasts. I had mine last week, and now back into the thing of things. And we should say hello to everybody that's here. Yoshi back on form. He was first instantly as the stream went live, so well done to Yosh. And Rumble Truck is here. All the way out of North America, and become an ardent supporter of SSA Rocket League. So how's it, mate? Good to have you. And of course, Syntax from Cosmico. What's up, mate? And Rumble Truck for the sub. Thank you very, very much. Very appreciated. And then Rhino's here, Rhino Cast, also another import that has become integral to SSA Rocket League. So good to have you here, mate. And so the first up, the branding. As you can see, Just Saying has transitioned from being just the RSC podcast to now being the region's Rocket League podcast. But so it's being hosted on this channel. But we've got all the RSC branding. I put out a tweet the other day and said, we need to rebrand. Come and help. I got a small budget for it. And I was inundated by crickets. So this is an appeal to anyone out there who wants to help rebrand Just Saying. Please do get in touch. And all right, well, I guess Bromeo, we need to kick things off by talking about the RSC. We haven't wrapped up the season yet, and we didn't have a podcast last week. Well, we didn't have a podcast the week before because it was the playoffs, and then we didn't have the one the next week because I was off in the mountains of the Cape. And here we are. So how are we wrapping up the season?
Well, I gotta say, first of all, given the fact that there's been a little bit of quiet around the RSC finale and all of that, I just want to say off the bat that finals couple of days, the prospect through to Master, Monday through to Thursday, served up some of the best RSC Rocket League that I have ever seen. I mean, there were Game 7 overtimes. It was absolutely nuts. So, we're talking about appeals for overlays. If anybody wants to make a montage, we will put it up because there are so many clips that I just want the world to see because, obviously casting it, I was privileged enough to be there as it happened. But if you're watching and you missed it, the VODs are probably still up. You must go and have a rewatch of those. They were absolutely intense. But going forward, we've got our award ceremony coming up on Thursday, I think.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to be announcing player of the season, new record holders, franchise of the season, all of the who's who of season 3, the triple commits. So that is something you must definitely tune in for because that is where we'll put a nice, neat little bow on this already fantastic RSC3 season.
And I should say that all prizes have been paid. Assuming your details were submitted over the weekend, all payments were made. So the prize pool has been distributed. So you should all, if you were due a prize, check your account. There should be a little bit of cash in there. So Thursday we'll see the conclusion of RSC season 4, and it's been a banger. And there And I think objectively the best RSC season we've had based on a number of metrics. An important one for me, and Sean and Bromeo, we spoke about this quite a bit, is the fact that going into playoffs, I didn't hate RSC, which was, earlier seasons, you're so burnt out from making, hanging by a thread, making it all happen. But there was so much support, so many just great people, from the casters to the production to everything. And I don't know, I know, Sean, you sort of down in the mud sometimes with the nitty gritty of it all, but even you didn't seem, weren't as characteristically grumpy.
Well, to be honest with you, Bromeo decided to abandon me halfway through the season. So I'm claiming all credit for the success of season 3, I'm going to say. I did work hard, I'm not going to lie. There were a lot of things that did come into play, but as much as I am enjoying the fact that I finally get to just relax a bit every day and I don't have to stress about every ping and stuff that's happening on that Discord, but I really did enjoy season 3 and everything that happened within it and all the new stuff that we got to try, especially with Genesis Extreme coming on board and helping us. Like every time we had a new stream, there's always something new that we were going to try, and it ended up always being a success, which was really cool to see. And I actually can't wait for when season 4 does come.
Well, the other metric, other than like still enjoying myself right to the end of the season, is being very excited for season 4. Lots of conversations happening on that, on how it'll look, where we want to go, how do we make it even bigger, like exponentially better than season 3, and news will roll out on that as we figure things out, as we get support on board. But Thursday night will be the conclusion, the official conclusion of the season, the awards night, the top performers, and I think they're pretty much all different to who they were last season. There's some new faces, some guys who've been around, and the great thing is that we've got seasons to compare with. Now that we've got a little bit of history, we can compare to last season and how the stats compared. So it's going to be a banger of a night, and Genesis Extreme are helping us with that broadcast, so it should be really, really good. How's it, Pepito? I see you there. Now, next topic, and I just want to talk about it quickly, is the Mythic After Party. If you cast your minds back to, I feel like it was September, but actually I think it was October, when we were all grinding, trying to win a 20,000 Rand ACGL tournament, and which we didn't win. We came close, but we didn't win. But a sponsor came on board and put together a 10,000 Rand tournament specifically for everybody that contributed to that Mythic, because there were people who really grinded, playing game after game after game. And that was going to be held this last weekend. But because of the 1v1 off-season, it was postponed. And it's probably, and invites will go out again, but it's going to be the weekend of the 7th and the 8th of December. So if you were part of that whole grind, look out for the invite coming soon. There still is a lot of Rocket League going on. The 1v1 off-season, there are 3 off-season tournaments happening right now. One is just concluded last night, the 1v1, and then registrations closing next Monday on the 9th for the 2v2 hoops tournament, and that's going to be held on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. It's the 16th, 17th, 18th, I think, of December, that weekend, the Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And then right before Christmas, 21, 22, and 23 December will be the 3v3. But the big news, Bromeo, last night, the conclusion of the 1v1, and SSA put up a good showing.
I think there's been a lot of doom and gloom about, import players coming through and, invading our shores. But the 1v1 tournament proved that there's a lot of players in this region who are capable of holding their own, if not superseding a lot of those players. So we saw a lot of the EU players from last season of RLCS participating in this. You saw some of the 77 Blocks players as well. But the exciting thing was it wasn't just the players who you'd expect to beat them that ended up doing it. I'm not going to give away who won that, because I'm sure that that's for you, GB. But all of the players who you expected to see there were there, but then there were a few notable names that I loved seeing. I loved seeing Lankai doing his thing. I loved seeing Tweaks doing his thing. You know, the names that you haven't seen too much of that you know, now we're getting to see coming to the forefront.
I was only disappointed. I mean, obviously there was no official stream, and there never are with the off-season ones, but so few people, 80 people signed up, and so few people were POV streaming. So it was very hard to kind of see some live action. And in fact, the best action we got were players who were streaming to some friends in Discord, and then we had Eagle out of Reunion Island streaming Wilu's Discord stream to his Twitch. So we're going like from game to Discord to Twitch, and then I'm watch partying on Twitch. It was bizarre. And then Subzan did the same for Lankai. So we did get some action. And of what I did see, there are two players that I was immensely impressed with, and I think who are going to have very serious seasons in 2025. And one was Wilu. Wilu as a 1v1 player. I mean, I've seen him play ones before, but he honestly seems to be at a whole new level with his Rocket League. It was just fantastic to see. And then blowing my mind was Lankai. Lankai was phenomenal. I mean, he was very frustrated. He went out on day 3, so he was top 12, but he was just he was so impressive. Took down Eli, and then from 77 blocks out of EU, Energizer. And I have a clip. It was my favorite moment, and I'm so grateful that it was streamed and that I was able to clip it. And I'm gonna show it now. I think this was game 2 against Energizer. And what's important to know about this series is that Lankai didn't just sweep here. He dominated. It was an annihilation out there. It was some of the most impressive 1v1 Rocket League to see it, and I hope Lankai is going to be very involved with RLCS next season. He is the best player coming out of Ghana, and a formidable force. So this was game 3, and the car you see on the screen now, that is Lankai, and he's right on the goal line of Energizer. So and Energizer's halfway down the pitch behind the ball. There's no sound. There was no game sound, so don't be put off by that. So here we go. I loved this clip. Oh no, this is just too much.
Oh, that's just rude.
Okay.
Disrespectful. Okay. Oh, he made him score.
Oh, somebody clip that. Just clip that. That is bizarre.
It's like rubbing salt in the wound.
It was, so he just sat on the ball on the goal line, and he saw Energizer coming in for the demo, and then he just tapped it. So it just rolled at like 5 Ks an hour into the net. Oh, it was magnificent. I was so excited by that. Great little bit of play from Lankai there. And so he completely bossed that series and went forward. And then if we go and have a look at the bracket, this was the top 12 bracket, and importantly 7 SSA players went through, 5 EU players, so they're a good showing. And Sweaty Lixer had made quick work of in his earlier rounds, but Sweaty Clarence taking care of him 3-0. And then Snowy to Die For, a series which just deserved to be streamed. And I honestly think To Die For has the beating of Snowy, but I think there's a mental block there of some sort. But that went to game 5. What a banger. And Snowy taking it 3-2 in game 5. And then Snowy and Sweaty also went to game 5. So it just gives a good sense, Sean, of how close those 3 limitless players are.
Why is
Well,
it almost like that entire top side is just Limitless players? What the hell?
So
I was thinking that as well. Yeah.
it was pretty much Limitless against Lixer. The top. So that was the winners bracket. So those were all the undefeated players. There were only 4 undefeated players coming into this, and it was Limitless and this Lixer character. And then the snowy, sweaty match was, I think
Happened
it was.
twice, by the way.
Say what?
Happened twice because Sweaty got dropped down to lowers and then, came back to the top. So they faced off twice. They went to game 5 in the first, and Snowy winning out twice, obviously. But how close is that? I mean, all of those Limitless games were game 5s.
Yeah, it was remarkable, but Snowy prevailing there, and one of them, Sweaty, won like a ridiculous score, like 11-4 or something. So there was quite a convincing win in the midst of it all. And then in the lower bracket, Ram and Wilu prevailing over Ram, and the LBA, Abulba, he beat Lankai. And then Zriv, and there's some question around Zriv on whether he was smurfing or not. He was on a fresh account that had no items, no nothing. So I think there might be an investigation ongoing there. He beat Daps, and then some guy named Hello, I think it is, lost to Revezi. Now, Revezi did incredibly well, but lost. He was put into the lower bracket by Werty earlier on, I think on day 1. And there you see and To Die For losing to Revezi was a bit disappointing. It was 2-1 at one stage to Die For, and then he lost 2 in a row. So that was a little unfortunate. But a big shout out to Die For at least streaming. One of the very few people who streamed on day 3. So it was very good. We got to see him in action, which was very nice. And then Revezi beating Lixer, and then another series I would love to have watched, Sweaty Clarence making quick work of Revezi, beating him 3-1 to then meet Snowy in the grand final, and Snowy winning that 3-1. So $2,200 to Snowy, $1,000 to Sweaty. And then it's top 16, I think, that get paid. So a little bit of cash all round there. So well done to everybody.
Where does Revezi come from? Sorry.
Revezi.
That is a great question. Yeah, he's definitely EU. I'm just trying to see from where. Oh, he's English. He's English. He's from Crawley, United Kingdom.
Oh, crazy.
All right, Governor.
Governor. Oh, and then what was very cool is the number 1 seed was like a 2.5K MMR Dutch guy named Oscillion.
Isn't that part of that new team that are now going to APAC all of a sudden?
They are going to APAC, that's right. But he was schooled by Zany on day 1, which was pretty groovy. And then I don't know who knocked him out of the tournament altogether, but that was very satisfying.
I also really wanted to be a fly on the wall for the day 2 best of 3s. Guns taking down Wee Casper, and then Guns going up against Tweaks and taking it to game 3 and going down to Tweaks, which I think is massive.
It is massive.
Because Guns you'd back to be day 3. He's always a top contender there. So truly speaking to the quality of Tweaks, unfortunately Tweaks getting taken down by Revezi in the next series, not making it through to day 3. But, that's a result worth speaking about on its own.
Yes. But big up. Congratulations to Snowy and to Sweaty, to Die For, to Wilu, Lankai, Tweaks. A really good showing, and I'm enormously proud of what we did there. So well done to everybody.
Also one of my standout was to see that Lankai took Eliakim to game. I took him in a full sweep as well, which was pretty cool to see.
Yes. That was the first I saw of Lankai, and I was fully expecting Eli to take that comfortably and to see, and I was like, okay, well, this is interesting. And then the next game was the one against Energizer, and it was just phenomenal. And I was so enormously proud and excited to see Lankai rocking out there.
To be fair, those games against Eliakim, he only won by 1 goal in each game, with a 7-6 in the first game and 11-10 in the second.
Yeah, and that one went to overtime. That was an overtime win. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was enormously close. Very, very close game.
Huge. Well done to that guy. Wow.
And then next up in the off season is the 2v2 hoops. And the only real news I have about that is that Devour is signing up with his dad. They're going to do a dad-son duo for the hoops.
I love that. I could get behind it. Honestly, bring your father to work day.
Oh man, and Devour's got his work cut out for him. He's going to have to do some hard carrying there.
For sure, Daps will be taking part in that for sure.
Well, and we're going to have a look at the teams that are signed up. Now, sign-ups close yesterday a week, so in 6 days' time. So still lots of time to sign up. And there's going to be lots of names here. Oh my God, Glifty's back.
Yeah.
Okay, that's exciting.
Honestly, we need a villain. We need a villain, and he's so easy to be a villain. So, Glifty, I'm glad you're coming back. I'm looking forward to some South African teams beating you.
And then look at this, To Die For and Guns.
That's going to be interesting to see.
That's quite the team up.
Oh, wow.
Now, who is Snox? Willow is teaming up with Snox.
Maybe it's another reunion he's playing. I don't know.
I don't know. That's a name new to me. If anybody in chat knows, do let us know. And then Daps and Dark. Now, Dark I know from Six. I think that's the same Dark from Six Man's. Youngster.
No,
I don't know if that's
Daps because he's an SSL in most of the extra modes. Mr. Daps himself. Yeah. So he should be quite comfortable in his element over there on hoops.
I like the team name Dops.
Dops.
We're so creative, aren't we? As South Africans are very creative with our names, aren't we?
And then John Boy. John Boy is Ringer and Velocity, which I don't know if that's the local Velocity. I don't think so. I think that seems like a foreign team. White Rabbit Gaming, Casper and Heatsy. Glad to see Heatsy in the mix, and it does look like he's going to be on White Rabbit Gaming for next season, and I'm not 100% convinced of that. I think Heatsy, I don't know, Heatsy has potential. I don't know, not too sure about that one.
I mean, to be fair, it is 2v2 hoops. It could go any which way.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not conventional Rocket League at this time, so now I think it's just going to be a fun little thing for everyone.
And then Vikings are Loxley and Nasig. Two names I don't know at all. I'm assuming they. Oops. I'm assuming they're EU boys.
Actually,
girls. Loxley doesn't say where he's from. And Stockholm, Sweden. Nasig is from Stockholm. So yeah. And then Eli and Durku. So that is actually a very good team. Durku is, I don't know what his rank is and what his pedigree is, but I do know he's a very well-known and very good player out of EU. So that's a pretty cool matchup.
Dark. I've seen Dark somewhere. I just can't remember. And I get confused because there's like how many Darks that are in SSA at this point?
No, it's...
I mean, Eli Durku. Is it Doc or is it Dr. Ku?
No, it's Durku. Durku is that one. Yeah.
Durku. Okay.
And then the elites. Now this is out of Algeria, Trin and Mass, who've competed in RLCS before. And then Not Vitality, Galaxy and Banana Cat.
Surely a meme team.
It's good to see Galaxy back in the fold. He was AFK for last season. So it's nice to, see him returning. He is, one of those could be great players. And Banana Cat's an up-and-comer. So I'd be very interested to see how these boys do in this tournament.
And apparently, according to Velocity in chat, this Dark is from the Netherlands.
Really? Velocity, you the one that's playing with Ringer?
Yeah, that's right. He's from Drachten, Netherlands. So yeah, okay. Well, there you go. Thanks for that, Velocity. So Daps with an EU counterpart. That's pretty groovy.
Yeah, Galaxy didn't play. He kind of fell off the radar because he had a lot of exams he had to deal with.
And
assume.
I keep hearing he's retiring. So and I think that's partly been the problem with Galaxies. He's never been 100% committed to the process. I don't know if we see him in RLCS next season or not.
Well, to be fair, he might have also gotten the same disease that Mr. Lowe has.
I was about to say, like, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for all of the signups. I can't wait for signups to open for RLCS because we're going to see all those players who are like, oh no, I'm retiring now. I'm an old man. And then they're like, oh, back again, contract signed.
Well, listen, I mean, you look at North America, Squishy Muffins is making a comeback. So, yeah, I think anything is possible. Will we see skill still? That's the big question. Now, the next team, 23 May. I don't know why they're calling themselves 23 May, but that's Jeff and Strutic, which I think has potential. Keeping in mind, I don't know how much hoops these guys play. I don't know. There's hoops mains in there. Hoops is a different kettle of bananas, so who knows?
Kettle bananas. That'll make your tea taste funny.
And then blah, blah, blah. It's 2/3 of the new roster of Zany, Star, and Willu. Star and Zany. So that's another SSA EU matchup, and quite a few of those, which is pretty cool.
I didn't get to see much of Star in the 1v1 tournament. I see he got knocked down to losers bracket. And
then he DQ'd.
So a little bit sad that I didn't get to see more of him because I'm sure we'll be seeing him in RLCS. But it's cool to see him teaming up with Zany. And actually, I just think it's cool in general to see SA players teaming up with EU players because it's good for our scene.
I think it's very good. Given the state of things, it is, I think, vital. It's silly not to. Missed opportunities there if you don't. So, and then according to Daps says that he's a bit of a hoops main and that Doc is a top 10 hoops player.
Yeah.
So that should be fun.
Oh, crazy.
That is crazy.
Then, Daps, if you choke this tournament, that's on you, bro. You set the expectation now. We're going to be watching.
We're going to be watching. And then Caderante Flammagante, whatever that is, Cry and Zyra, I'm assuming they're EU. And then BT... Cry and Zyra. Caderante Flammagante. And I'm probably saying that wrong. Well, we can check.
No,
definitely not SSA.
Check that name, man. Martum.
Portugal. Portugal is Cry. Oh, they're both from Portugal. Portugal.
¿Cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás? Coming to set up a... Oh, never mind. I'm not going to do the stereotype joke. Okay, then BTW is Verge or Verge and... who those are. And then Goats. What? Gotazawa. Whatever. Mus and Wailu. Okay, Wailu played in the 1v1. He's out of Poland. I don't know where Mus is from. And then we have an incomplete team of vendors, which half of it is snowy, which is interesting.
He's struggling to find a teammate. Probably because he keeps blocking people. Team Flipper, who we remember from last season of RLCS.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's all jokes. I don't.
All right, Dap says Dark is currently top 15 in hoops, so that's still very good. Papito's very excited about the Poras.
I also says Snowy's playing with Sweaty.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And then Jono for Team Flipper, and then I don't know who Hazo is. Hazo is trying to... Come on, Shun! But I'm sure there will be lots more signups for that. 18 teams as it stands, and there are still 5 days to go before registration ends.
Jono, he was here last season, was he?
He was indeed. Yeah, Team Flipper, which is also Dutch, is it not?
Yeah, they are Dutch.
Did he play? Was he a coach?
No, he played. Jono played. It was Jono. I'm trying to remember the other teammates. I wish Mufffish was here right now. He'd be speaking on. all of the possible permutations of that. But yeah, no, he was in last season of RLCS. So, also big bonus is that you get to see these players play before RLCS begins, so that you know
Yes.
who they are. We know what we're up against,
Mm.
and I find that exciting because we're not going in blind anymore.
That then brings us to the 3v3, which is being held from the 21st to the 23rd of December. And that means that is 10 days, 12 days before the start of RLCS 2025. So it is really, really close to the start of the new season. And I think we then will have a very good sense of what the rosters are going to be. And I'm amazed there are 8 teams. Only 8 teams have so far signed up. And all that tells me is that everyone's very cagey about rosters. There's still tryouts going. They don't want rosters leaked. Everyone's keeping their cards very, very close to the chest.
Also, there's
Truthfully,
yeah, you go, Bromeo.
I will go. How about that? No, truthfully, I agree with that because there's a lot of maneuvering, a lot of we don't want to give away our roster too soon. There's a whole bunch of we haven't finalized a roster yet because I've already seen chopping and changing between possible confirmed rosters.
Yes.
And things like that. So I think it's going to be a nice little proofing ground for all of the potential teams. I do think it's going to be the final testing place for those people to decide whether they like the combo that they have. So I wouldn't take it written in stone all of the combinations that we see heading into RLCS in this final 3v3 tournament, but I think it is going to be hella exciting. You need to keep close watch on it because I think a lot of the teams that are coming in for RLCS, possibly the next Mobula, will be playing in this tournament. They'd want to get established on ping. They want to get set up. I would not be surprised to see them there. So I'm very excited.
Nice.
Sure. Oh.
What I was just going to mention is you might not see like actual rosters in a 2v2 hoops off-season kind of thing either.
Yeah.
It could just
I don't
be
think
friends getting together. So maybe whatever that SSA 3v3 thing is, we'll probably get more of an indication as to who will be teaming up. Maybe. Or they try to throw us for a loop. You never know.
All right. And then, a dark has arrived into chat, but it doesn't seem like it's that dark. It's definitely not me, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Well, let's have
Matt pops it to chat just to say wasn't me.
Yeah. Well, either way, welcome to SSA, Doc. Well, let's have a look at who has signed up so far. And I'm sure a lot of people are watching these. So the elites, that's the North African team from Algeria, Trin, 9, and Mass.
Oh, wow.
And then Bird, Gold Ninja, Zeph, and then of course with the retirement of Josh last season, they now have Hunter.
No, it's not the retirement of Josh. It's just
where's Tishao?
Oh, that's right. Josh retired. Tishao came in, and now so I'm assuming Tishao is going to find himself a different roster, but he's not on the
okay.
He's not on the Bird roster. Now I'd want to see.
I love that description. Can we please just pause and enjoy that?
Which one?
They defined a bird.
Oh, noun 1, a warm-blooded egg-laying vertebrate animal distinguished by the possession of feathers. Oh shit.
It's possibly feathers, wings.
Wings, a beak, and typically by being able to fly.
There we go. That is perfect. Well done. Marketing on point.
But now, because I clicked there, will have lost.
No, just hit.
Oh, no, there we go. If I go to... I wanted to see where Hunter's from. Damn it.
Well, then just go click on Hunter.
Yeah,
that profile picture is...
No. That profile pic is an abomination. Czech Republic. Where did they find someone out of the Czech Republic?
That's crazy.
I suppose we're going to have to check it out.
Okay, Premier, you have the word. That is the shittest joke.
Don't even laugh. That's the worst. I know. That's
No,
a good one.
it's just because I was slow, Bromeo, and I was also looking at chat, and Lofi says T-Shao is planning to team with a South African. Excuse me, team with an SA team.
Grebek was trying to pronounce that place in Czech Republic, actually.
Plzeň. I'm sure it is. It's a small little town in the Czech Republic.
Lovely weather there this time of year.
It's a wonderful time of year.
Had
White
coffee
Rabbit
there.
Gaming is Casper, Marnie, and Heatsy. Now, Marnie's a young up-and-comer. I don't know if he's ready for RLCS, but he's been grinding hard. And I haven't seen him in probably 3 months, so I don't know how much he may or may not have improved.
Didn't Marnie go to the US? Or am I thinking of someone else?
I think you're thinking of someone else. I'm not sure. Chat will let us know, no doubt. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. And then Heatsy, as I said, in my mind, he just hasn't found the right team.
Yeah, agreed.
Sethy went to the US. Okay.
White Rabbit has been struggling, I think, last season. So
they have been, and still being helmed by Wee Casper. So we'll see what. Now, Wee Casper is, I mean, he's the older of the SSA OG crowd, and he's very involved in show jumping or something involving horses. I think it's show jumping. So I think he's been very distracted from Rocket League. So I don't know how close to the top of his game he's going to be by the time the season rolls around.
Like White Rabbit, I was very disappointed with their showing last season.
Yes,
I don't think they played to their potential. They featured a couple day threes, but not many. But I don't think that we should have been surprised when we saw the turnaround of that roster. I think Wee Casper's the only one remaining from last season's roster. So it's good to see Marnie in the fold. Heatsy, I don't know where he's going to end up, but even midway through the season. But it's an interesting combo. I don't think they're going to be huge this season, but I think that they are a strong team.
I think and I hope they do very cool things, but needs work. And then Hereford FC, Ringer, Durku, and Velocity. So Durku and Velocity are playing in the hoops. We saw. Oh, and Ringer is as well. So they're already kind of involved, and I think that's going to be a strong EU team.
I think so as well. Velocity featured for which RLCS team last season?
Who?
Velocity.
That I don't know. I don't know if he played RLCS last season.
Is that Velocity Neonics?
No. That's an EU Velocity. To my knowledge.
It is Velocity Neonics.
Let's see.
There's just so many names that are pretty much the same, so I need to differentiate.
He's from the UK, and Velocity is now Kalamatan.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Even though in Twitch chat, he's Velocity Neonics right here.
Yeah, so he's not Kalaman.
Okay, Velo. Oh, Velo did play. I didn't realize Velo is Velocity. Velo definitely played last season. Okay. I remember Velo, not Velocity. All right. And then Not Vitality, also making an appearance in threes, Galaxy 6 and Banana Cat. And then Relentless, the first of the, I think that Bird is a serious roster. Relentless is as well. Star, Willow, and Zany. So that's international roster, Reunion, South Africa, and UK, if I'm not mistaken. Star is UK, I believe.
Wasn't Zany with Happy Meal last season?
Yeah, with Cosmico, but he left Cosmico.
Okay.
And Cosmico have not leaked their new roster yet.
Fair enough.
Okay. Star is from Bristol in the UK.
Bristol.
And then we have, these are, Astronic is coming, but their teams that's an incomplete team. And Trifibius is Jeff and 2 other people, so we'll know. So
Astronic still running with the Spaniards because
yes,
Danilo played for Astronic last season as well, so it looks like they're retaining the roster at least somewhat.
Yes, I think it's going to. I do think. I mean, because they've also, as an org, combined with another org, and then Jay, who is always Mr. Vague, seemed to suggest that there was. I don't think it's going to be the same roster, but we'll see how that goes. So there we go. We can glean what we can from 8 teams, 8 almost teams signed up. By this time next week, I'm sure there'll be more. And by Friday, before the Monday of the closing of registration, we'll have a far, far better idea of what is about to go down. So that's it in terms of the off season. Now, while talking about things, roster and so on, I'm sure you guys have seen and are aware of this new Twitter account, being anonymously run at the moment, but we have our theories of who it might be. But they are basically trying to find all the news and the leaks around RLCS and rosters, and I don't know if they've got it right just yet. I mean, their only hard news was this roster that's coming out, this import roster. And I'm trying to find that tweet.
Regarding, even though like they're still figuring out how they're going to portray all the information on this new account, it's thank God that RLCS SSA thing is gone.
How do you know? Shut up, Sean.
Watching would right now.
Profile picture.
Okay.
They would have been on all the drama that was happening on Twitter anyways if it was going to be.
Yeah, that's fair. So Flosi, can we take that as confirmation? I'll just let that hang in the air for a moment. And where is this team that they leaked? Apparently flying out to play out of Cape Town. It was Luna.
Oh, I saw that.
Luna, somebody, and then it was immediately no, it's not happening. It is, and then yes, it is happening. So I don't know.
ARV guy. I'm not saying anything. I don't want to be held.
Oh, and Yukio was the other one.
Yeah.
And Calamatin or Velocity Neonic says Yukio told me he is not going to play in SSA, but we'll have to wait. So there we go. Oh, there we go. Forky was the other one. Yukio, Luna, and Forky. Yukio said it's not happening. Sethi and Velocity all over this, man. They're like climbing all over these guys. Luna is in college. Their manner said it's bullshit. Okay, so probably not happening, but word is that there's at least 2 EU rosters coming out to play from Cape Town.
It has to be. Given what we saw from Mobula last season, I have no doubt that a Mobula equivalent or Mobula adjacent team would come through because, it's in the rule set, it's allowed, and given the success of Mobula last season, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. So I'm not sure who it is yet. We don't know who it is yet, but it's going to be an interesting reveal regardless.
Well, that does bring us to the topic of rule set, because you said it's in the rule set. We're 38 days away from the start of the season. There is no rule set. Everyone is pretty much taking it as read that the rules will not change and that it's full region unlock as it was last season. But there is no confirmation, and that does create a little bit of uncertainty because I mean, there's no reason to assume that the rules are going to change. But can you imagine a team flies out, sets up camp in Cape Town, and then it's like, oh, it's a 1/3 rule or a 2/3 rule, and it's hard to make firm decisions without definite confirmation.
I think that very, very soon we're going to find out. I don't think anything's going to change off the bat. Let me just preface all of this by that. I think rules are going to stay the same. I think that we're going to see an influx of EU players again this season, but I am here for the upset. I am a romantic. If they change the rules while, Timmy from Birmingham is currently sitting in Cape Town boot camping, I would be overjoyed, truthfully.
So I thought the whole conversation around the EU invasion would have kind of died away by now, with the realization that it's not going to change, but it's kind of surfacing again. And I understand it's a hot topic and people get very hot under the collar and take it personally. And there's like beefs against players. And I think we have to move away from that. I realized today, let's say in a parallel universe, Reunion Island was a region and South Africa was a region. I have zero doubt in my mind that there would be a small army of South African players playing in the Reunion, and that's not taking anything away from Reunion. I don't want to for a moment suggest that there would be easy or it would be whatever, but there is no doubt in my mind that there would be South African players taking advantage of that.
I completely agree. Like, I honestly think, and we spoke about it on the podcast, that RLCS, we spoke about the next thing, which was Reunion at the time before they introduced EU. And I think that this representation from Reunion is so important for SSA, and
Yes.
honestly, it's true. It's so exciting to see such a tiny island represent themselves in this way.
Oh, they blow me away every day. I just love them, and their style of Rocket League is incredibly aggressive. It's no, they're a joy.
You might want to close your DMs. It's on stream.
Your Twitter DM.
Your Twitter DMs.
So what?
Yeah, no.
There's nothing serious there.
Not yet, until somebody snipes.
Not yet, until one slips in there. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, I've closed it now. So here are my two hot takes. Well, why don't we just go to the screen now? So here are my two hot takes. One of them I posted on Twitter a couple of days ago, and where I said, despite everything that is going on in the world of RLCS and competitive Rocket League, and there is a lot of pain. There's uncertainty about orgs pulling out, all of that jazz. There's a lot of chaos going on. But I do believe that SSA Rocket League has never been better than it is right now. That's my first take. My second take is that while one of the big complaints of the EU players is that they're not scrimming, and it's like, oh, they got to be scrimming us, they got to be involved, and they're just coming in and playing and all of that. My second hot take is that the mere threat of their presence is making us better.
That's not even a hot take. I feel like that is the take. I feel like the moment there is stiffer competition, I think that forces players to get better. Remember, for like a good couple of RLCS seasons, there was an established top 6. That's why you saw your orgs not really leaving, because they were comfortable in knowing that they were placing top 6 there and thereabouts every season. Now nothing is guaranteed, just the way it should be. And if you want to be competitive season after season, you have to get better. And EU is now proving that our SSA players are better than we gave them credit for, because we've seen some very good results. Even in last year's RLCS, we saw some very good upsets by some very unexpected teams. So make no mistake, and this is my take, is that I think the EU players should come because it's making us better. And I feel like the players at the top got a little bit too comfortable with it, and now it's forcing everybody to get better, because last seasons of RLCS, we saw some amazing plays. We saw some players get remarkably better, and I don't think they would have if these imports didn't come.
And Limitless at Worlds played the best we've ever seen them play.
Yeah.
Was that improvement? How much of that can you say was because of what had happened? I think they would absolutely contest that vigorously, but
no mistake.
But that, and there's maybe a little bit of gap between correlation and causation and all of that sort of thing. But the statistical fact was we had that crazy season, and Limitless looked really, really good at Worlds.
No, remember, Limitless wakes up in the morning, they go to the bathroom and they piss excellence. They are just that good. So, Limitless, if you're watching, sorry, we're not we're not saying that you're not good. We're just saying that you're getting better. It's a compliment.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's now talk about, because there's been a couple of comments about the org situation.
Mhm.
Well, he's okay. Well, so he's contesting a little bit. Skill still is. The exposure to EU teams in an RLCS season is not enough to spark noticeable improvement. The improvement we've seen is just natural in the region. So I think I don't think it is just that skill steal. I do think the realization that the bar is exponentially higher now is realizing that. I think tagging on for what Bromeo said is that you can't just be I think a lot of teams were like, oh, well, we're probably not going to beat Limitless, but we could probably shoot for a top 2, a top 4, a top 6, or a top 8 if you were lower. Now, whatever it was going to take for you to be a top 4 team in the 2021-22 season, you have got to be really, really good. So I just the awareness and the knowledge that the bar is higher, has got to have had an impact.
I completely agree with that. And Sean, I'm not sure what your take on this is, because you've been remarkably mum on the topic. But
No, I've just been listening to this. I'm reading also all of the different opinions that are coming through in the chat as well, especially from Flossy. I mean, you get people that are on the same side of the fence as we are with regards to the imports coming in. There are people on the other side of the fence that are going to contest our opinions.
I know,
But
and this is fabulous, and I think it's going to continue to be a hot topic.
I love that it is a hot topic as well,
Yeah.
because I appreciate Skill Steel's a view on this. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Nobody is wrong. That's why it's such a contentious issue. Is that it's something you sort of just have to take from a couple different angles, and somewhere in the middle you'll find the truth. And I think what's really, really good, and this is just a small little segment, is that the different play styles that we saw emerging last season, it's sort of like watching the Springboks play the Springboks. It's just going to be a whole lot of bashing until there's going to be a try. But what we saw from 77 blocks and a lot of the more obscure EU teams coming through was just a complete difference in playstyle. The Germans versus the Dutch, they just play different brands of Rocket League and forced us to adapt to their playstyle and overcome that playstyle. And so, whilst I agree with Skill Steel saying that it is just a natural improvement, I also do think it's heavily involved by our exposure to different kinds of Rocket League. Is that it's a ball game, it's a sport. There are different ways to play it. And the more styles of play that we see, the more styles of play that we're exposed to and play against, the more we can, develop our own game. Developing in a fishbowl when there's a whole ocean out there is, it's very difficult to say that we're truly good when we're still in the confines of that bowl.
One of the very obvious consequences of it, though, never mind what's happening at the very top and like who's gonna go to majors, who's gonna go to worlds. We're already seeing with the hoops tournament, and we're seeing with the 8 teams that have signed up so far for the off season, is we're going to see a proliferation of mixed teams. And that, I think, will speak to Skill Steel's point, where we are actually playing in an integrated way. And there is no question we're going to have a Mobula, some version of that coming out, maybe 2, 3, 4 of them all coming out. And that's going to be difficult and hard work, but we're going to see these mixed rosters, and that has got to be good.
I mean, based on all of cool, there's natural improvement, and there's going to be natural improvement anyways, because Limitless is going to be at the top all the time, and we're going to have our local teams that are going to be improving to hopefully dethrone Limitless at some point. eventually, whether it's this season, next season, season after that, however many seasons that are coming in the future, or when Snowy decides to finally retire. Um, but the thing that I usually disagree with is this whole rejection thing that we have going against these imports that are coming
Yes.
into SSA.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, there'll be people that will be upset with the fact that there are people that are coming here not to help us improve, but to possibly just farm the money that is in the country, in the region. Cool. I get that. I understand. But at the end of the day, we're rejecting the possibility of playing against these better players. If there are better players as well that do come into the country and play on local ping. And we could, I don't see why we don't just attack the challenge head on, and like we usually do as South Africans in normal cases, and just force them out in a natural way as well. You know what I mean? Show them that we're not a region to be messed with, like which we have the potential to be. Have more than one team that's not just limitless, that is a strong team to come up against that scares them away. And also maybe here's another point to bring up is that so many of these rosters now, they continue that are in SSA and our SSA rosters are continuously changing all the time throughout an RLCS season or between RLCS seasons. I mean, if you look at Limitless, they pretty much remain the same team throughout the entire season, maybe with one or two changes, maybe over an even longer length, a longer time. They will stay the same team. They will improve together, get better, and all that kind of stuff. But then we have all our other teams that are like lower down the ladder. They're constantly trying to find the quickest way to get to the top by trying out different players instead of staying together and improving together.
Building.
Yes, which is what we should also maybe look into doing.
Well, I would love nothing better than to see that, because it is, I know it drives VS crazy because they can't, rosters sign up and it's like, okay, we've got a 3-month league, and that's like, okay, you got a less than even chance of the roster staying together for the entire league. So yeah, I think it's an epidemic in Rocket League broadly around the world, but especially here in SSA, that sort of long-term view. But so there are 2 points coming off what you've said, Sean. One is the deep-seated animosity towards individual players is not productive. They are playing within rules. We don't like the rules, and we can oppose them, but you can't. We've got to chill out on players playing within the rules, even if we don't like it. Secondly, we assume the rules aren't going to change, and there's been no confirmation, but I think we can accept that the rules won't change. And if they don't change, then we've got to, as you've said, Sean, knuckle down. This is the world now. And you can either hate it so much that you don't want to play anymore, and that's absolutely your right. And if it's not something you want to be part of, then you don't have to partake. But if you want to be involved in the scene and play at the highest level, you've got to figure out a way to deal with this reality, because it is with us. It may well not change, and it may well mean we won't see South Africans at a major or worlds for the next 2 or 3 seasons, or a mixed team, or things are different now. So let's just deal with that reality. And I have no doubt that this will not be the last time we talk about the topic, and there will be hot discussions on individual players, because I've often said, as much as I say we can't, the animosity toward individual players is not good. They don't always send us their best people, and that is problematic, and we will have to deal with that on an individual basis. I mean, never mind the fact that come March, Rihu and his clan of misfits are going to be unbanned and ready to partake. Who knows if we see them again? That'll be fun and exciting.
That would be absolute cinema, to be honest.
That would be popcorn worthy, no doubt.
At the end of the day, there's one thing we do love as South Africans, is when we can band as a community together to completely shit on like 3 people at the end of the day.
Yes.
But bring the community together at the same time.
And I did say something on stream the other day, and Skill Steals made a comment in chat which has reminded me of it. And that is, when when a team that includes a SSA player, whether it's a whole team or a 1/3, 2/3 team, whatever, when an SSA team with somebody from the region, one or more, makes listen, I'll go so far as to say top 8 at a major, I will live on stream shave my beard. I will be that stoked about it.
Surely this gets clipped.
Go for it. As I said to Skill the other day, it does not have to be clipped. I will be first in line for it. Let's talk about the broader scene.
Grow a full head of hair.
Yeah. So there is a bit of an org-apocalypse around the world. G2 has left Rocket League or picking up another, whatever it is. Orgs are leaving. Orgs are unhappy. We keep speaking about Limitless. Limitless, as far as I know, have not re-signed their roster. I don't know for sure that org is going to be in SSA next season. I think they're also waiting for clarity and certainty because they've got to evaluate what is best for them. So that may well come to impact us. And I do think we are going through a bit of a reset. Through the pandemic when, 2020, 2021, when Rocket League was gargantuan and there was a very unsustainable it's like runaway inflation when it came to player salaries. There were ridiculous salaries orgs just could not sustain it over time, given what they get out of the game and what they get out of decals, all of the things that have been adequate, have been discussed on things like the Chalked Cast and other places. So I think there's going to be a reset and a recalibration of, hold on a second, we need to reset expectations of what is viable in terms of player salaries globally. And local players, they are guided by what's happening around the world. So they go, oh, well, Zen's getting 12,000 euro or 15,000 euros a month. I'm not as good as Zen, but I should be getting some exorbitant amount of rents if I'm going to get signed by an org. And I think there has to be a readjustment of expectations in that regard.
I completely agree there. One of my biggest disappointments in the scene of RLCS is even last season, where you had players who weren't even top 16 quality asking for a stipend to represent an org. I think that's just silly, because it's not even a professional player base. It's simply just in that sort of thing. There's absolutely no return that this player is giving an org, other than just for the pleasure of playing. So, given the fact that we are in a very uncertain time in SSA, in the world, you were tipping to a whole bunch of international orgs, but even locally, you've seen a lot of big name orgs withdrawing from the scene. They've just done it quietly. And that's why you'll see a whole bunch of orgs who are still around. They're just not in Rocket League. Or just not that active, is because there is no financial return for an org to be involved right now at the lower level in Rocket League. I understand why the Limitless are here, and I understand why top 6 teams here, because they get exposure to the stream. But for all the players who can't even guarantee a top 12 finish, I think that's where you need to, reevaluate what you're fighting for here.
All right, so I have a third hot take, but I want to answer Flosie's question. He asked what happened to Apex. Apex was a casualty of orgs like Limitless coming in. Players wanting exorbitant salaries, a South African org to pay them exorbitant salaries for the pleasure of just playing the game. And I think Epidex eventually just became, I think he became frustrated and demotivated and went, well, you know what? I actually don't even want to be involved anymore. So there were, that's just one factor. I'm sure there were others, but that was a direct consequence of the sort of bidding war and weird expectations of players who felt that they were a sort of top 4, top 6 team and what they thought they should be paid. And then my hot take is this, if I can remember it. Oh, my hot take is this. There is more value in the SSA context for an org to pick up a team who have a social presence, who stream, who create content, who have an audience, but are a top 12 team. There's more value in that top 12 team than a team that is guaranteed to finish top 4 and who never stream and have zero public profile.
No, 100%. I agree with you there. It's just a player, if you want to get paid for your job, you become a public figure. You become the face of an organization. You're essentially getting paid by this org, not just to play, but to represent them. And representation is a whole different facet other than just simply playing the game. And GB, you've been hopping on the you need to create content, bandwagon for the longest of times. But even if it's not to that degree, just representing the org in a public way, simply outside of the RLCS qualifiers. That is how you earn your keep as a player. And I don't think anybody in South Africa in SSA has even touched on what it means to be a professional player. So these kids asking for stipends, and you're not even a top 8 team, this is my hot take: get a grip. It's not going to happen. And if there is some kid in his basement in Bristol, UK, paying you a McDonald's salary to play for his team, then that's not because you're a professional player. It's because, the pounds are good and, he's got some to waste. And make no mistake, orgs at this level are passion run. People are doing it for the love of it. There is no financial gain right now for an org to be, participating at top 8 or lower. Even top 8 or higher, it's a huge risk. So for all the orgs that were involved last season, big ups to them, big props to them, show them some respect, because the risk that they took to give you a financial incentive to play is massive, because there are zero guarantees.
Well, let's now get into the topic of local orgs, and I think this is a good time to shout out the non-South African orgs, the orgs that are here. We got Mega Boom with Genesix is in chat, and of course Syntax from with Cosmico. Those are two orgs that have committed themselves to SSA and their desire for the region to grow and do well. It's been incredible to see what they have done. And then there's White Rabbit Gaming, a bit of controversy with them, but they've at least been around for a while and they're still there in some way, shape, or form. Now, there are rumors, and I've had orgs reaching out to me, others that haven't, but orgs that are rumored to be looking for Rocket League rosters next season in SSA are the Punishers. We'll hopefully see the return of the Punishers. Omnius Gaming, and then Synthesis, who picked up a roster for the VS finals at Comic-Con, and that was Ravi, Devour, and Defunct. And I've been chatting to Tendo, and I think we will see them next season, which will be great. And then Goliath Gaming, I've had no communication there, but a couple of rumors that apparently that they're maybe looking for a Rocket League roster, but that would be massive if Goliath got involved. Really cool. And then Bromeo, I got a message from Hannibal, and he has a friend, somebody he knows. So it's all very hush-hush who are looking for a roster, and could I make suggestions on who they should be talking to and whatever. So that's kind of interesting, and it's certainly more orgs than I've been accustomed to, local orgs kind of sniffing around and expressing an interest in getting involved in Rocket League.
I can definitely pick on that. I can say, Team Fusion is looking to make an entrance back into the scene. I can confirm that straight from the horse's mouth. We want to bring a little bit of crowd support back to RLCS. And, for all orgs looking to enter, it's a great proving ground. And I think there is enough enough players involved and too many who are going to go orgless this season. So Fusion has been holding some trials. There have been some interesting players raising their hands, and I'm very interested to see, who are going to be re-entering the fray, aside from Fusion. And I'm not sure who Hannibal was referencing. I'm not sure if it was for Fusion.
He explicitly said it wasn't.
Okay, that's very, very interesting, because
Yes.
I've heard absolutely nothing. So Hannibal, if you're not watching, it's I'm very interested to find that out now too. My interest is peaked. So yeah, I just think the players deserve just a little bit more support, because we need to drive support if we want this region to grow. And we've said it in the RSC, we've said it so many times. And if we cannot support the players, if we cannot create raise the profile of the scene, then what are we doing here? I saw too many blue profile icons last season for RLCS, and even if it's just
What does that mean?
social, just orgless teams.
Orgless, got you.
And even if it's just representation at a social media level, just to get some viewership up for your team, that's immediate improvement than three dudes just playing for the fun of it, because at least your representation at RLCS is being noted, it's being supported, and that is what an org should be doing at this level.
And
Closely asked question though.
yeah, well, we're certainly not going to. We're not going to be discussing that on the podcast. So, yeah,
I will say it. No, because players don't realize that they're too shit for salaries at this point in time.
Jesus Christ, Sean. Okay,
let's be honest.
Yeah. Okay, that's a hot take. All right, and then Daps asked a question about ATK and Nixa. As far as I know, Nixa I'm a bit confused by, because they said they were getting out of esport altogether, but we see them sniffing about. And so maybe not. ATK, I don't know. I don't know why they had teams. They don't have teams. I've heard nothing about ATK and whether they'd be interested in getting back into Rocket League or not. But I want to extend an invitation. I would like to get orgs into the seat. I've got this scene here with the 3 cameras. There's an empty spot for a 4th. I would like to get org representatives, org owners onto this podcast so we can have a conversation about you. What would interest you about getting involved? What would it take for you to be involved in Rocket League? If you picked up a roster, what would you want out of it? Tell us about your org, your hopes, your dreams, your expectations. So Punishers, Omnius, Goliath, Synthesis, Hannibal's Friends team.
Hannibal's Friends team.
Yeah. Nixa, ATK, Nibble. Where's Nibble? We haven't seen Nibble for 2 seasons. I thought they were a great org. Let's get Nibble back in here. If you represent an org, if you own an org, let's get you onto the podcast. Let's start talking about what the community can do for you as an org. What I would love to see, and I think, Bromeo, you made the point, and Sean, I think possibly you as well, this thing about rosters and the frequent churn of rosters. I'd like to see, let's say Omnius, they pick up a roster, Synthesis with Ravi, Devour, and I think it's going to have to be another 3rd. I think Defunct is retiring. But okay, let's build this roster over 1 season, 2 seasons, 4 seasons. Let's be in this for the long haul, not just for, can we make a major? Can we make worlds? Because there's going to be more than just RLCS next season. VS is going to be huge. There are great opportunities for orgs, and let's start having the convo. So an open invitation to all orgs. Let's get you on the podcast. Let's talk about it. Let's see how we can move forward with you as an org in the scene, and what the community can do, and how it all works. So there we go. That's my appeal to the broader org community, because it would be really, really nice to have, well, certainly all of the orgs we've just mentioned back in the scene, and having it just, it'll just lend that sense of legitimacy to the entire process.
I actually really want to meet like Syntax, and isn't Megaboom also has an org, doesn't he?
Yep.
Of course he does. That's Genesix.
Oh yes, yes.
Well, let's start with you guys. Syntax, let's get you on next week. Megaboom, let's get you on. Let's talk about your expectations and what passion is driving you to be involved in the scene. And I can't imagine you're making retirement money out of all of this. So what is the reason you're involved here? That would be fabulous.
100%. I think I do know the guy that runs Nibble, so I could probably chat to him and see if he'd be interested in also coming on at some point.
That would be great. Let's get them all in here. Let's do this. So with everything going on, I want to reiterate, for me, based on the potential for RSC, the potential for High School Rocket League, the potential for VS, and on top of that, RLCS, 2025, I think, is going to be a banger season for SSA Rocket League.
I think so as well. There's just so much happening, so much room for improvement, so many new players getting involved, and you're going to see it tomorrow night when RSC has its awards night. There's going to be a whole Thursday. Thank you, Sean. There's going to be so many new awards because we now have enough data to show who's breaking records. Top goal scorers, top assist makers, but we can also tell you who's the new shining stars this season because, so much attention is given to RLCS and the players who do there. But once they appear and shine in RLCS, then they've made it, but nobody ever shows how they got there. And RSC is now doing that. And there have been so many standout players that you're now seeing dominating in 1v1s that we've been noticing the entire season through RSC. So RSC is going to be coming on Thursday doing the awards night and showing just, a couple of players who are to watch for this up and coming RLCS season. If not this one, then the next one, because that's what's exciting me the most is we've got this calendar jam-packed full of Rocket League that's now being watched. And, you now have the ability to join a tournament at any point in 2025 and play some Rocket League. And truth be told, when I joined the scene in Rocket League, there was VS and that was it. And now from January through to December, there's Rocket League to play. So as a player, there is no better time to be playing Rocket League than now. And I cannot stress that enough. It's fantastic. I think the scene that we have as it currently stands now, as many, people would explain, oh no, Rocket League is dying. Oh no, orgs are exploding. Oh no, there's people coming and playing Rocket League from abroad. It's a sign of a healthy game. It exists. The game that you're playing right now is doing incredibly well. And just from what I've experienced behind the scenes, high schools coming in and adopting Rocket League as an official esport, you can expect a massive influx of players in the upcoming year. And I'm so excited for it because we're going to see it happen live.
I got a message from Syntax. He's very keen to come on. So Syntax, let's set that up for next week. And Megaboom, let's chat. We'll figure out the logistics of the time difference. It doesn't have to be next week, but at some point we got to get you on. You've become an important part of our region, so let's get you on and have a conversation. And then to close things off, I also posted this on X and also Blue Sky. And if you're not on Blue Sky yet, get on Blue Sky because it's a far healthier place to be. So I'll just put that out there. You can find me at greybeard.gg on Blue Sky. So VS have a weekly gaming show, a TV show. It airs on SABC and also on their YouTube. And last season, they had, I think, 3 or 4 inserts, like 3-4 minute inserts about Rocket League. This season, 3 full episodes are dedicated to Rocket League. The first of those came out this week. So I'm gonna dump the link to the video on YouTube so you can go and check it out. But we can see it all. Here's a little bit of a preview of what it is.
So I still don't recognize Happy Meal as he looks currently, right?
With his short hair.
looks so different, and it still
It's like
catches
golf.
me off guard every time I see him.
Looks like
Looking.
he's gonna go play a few rounds of golf right after.
Well, don't forget that he's also a professional archer. So that's what he does outside of Rocket League. Is he does archery. All right. So here's 30 seconds of this.
I'm the hype. I'm a Rocket League evangelist, so I want to hype everything about it.
Yes.
Happy Meal is going to talk about it from a professional player perspective. From my perspective, hype worthy is what is the story.
Anyway, there you go. I think it's great. So this spoke about young players and are young players worth all the hype that surrounds them. It was a great little episode. And then there's 2 others that have already been filmed that will come out over the next couple of weeks. So in chat is the link. Go and watch it, go and like it, go and share it, and all of that good stuff. But for me, that's another indication of local Rocket League. VS are leaning heavily into Rocket League. They want this to blow up. And I do think that next season we can start to match CSGO's numbers in terms of the number of people that come to the LAN at Comic-Con and the number of people that watch the finals on Twitch. And I want to get close to CSGO's numbers next year and supersede it the year after that. And I'm pretty sure that we can do it.
I just wanted to say, and this is actually the conversation that I had when talking about bringing back Team Fusion, is that it's so disappointing to see players rocking up at a LAN without some support. And I feel like it's vital, and I feel like we could crush CS with numbers if we gave people a reason to support. And I feel like right now there is no reason to support, and I feel like that's the job of the org right now, is to promote your player, to promote the hype, get people involved, get people wanting to coming through to Comic-Con or wherever the LAN is and supporting your team. Because honestly, that for me, being part of this Rocket League scene, that is one of the greatest gifts that this community has given, is that you go to Comic-Con and you see these players playing live, and it's fantastic, and I love it. And I think that if done properly, the LAN support for next season is going to be massive. And that's the challenge for the orgs out there, is aim for Comic-Con. We know when it is. You now have an entire year to plan on getting as many supporters there of your org as possible, so that when your players play, you know that there is going to be noise for them, and it's going to be massive, and it's exciting. And I think that is what we should all be aiming for, truthfully.
Yeah, it's always very sorry, Greg. That's one of the major things that I noticed, and it's been the same for the past 2 Comic-Cons, is that the orgs and the hype building up towards the LAN, even though we know about it, that it's coming, it's just next to nothing, and then there's hardly any people there to watch it. Or there's people that just like, oh, what's that over there? They're busy kicking a ball around with a car on their little picnic tables with their launches. So we need to get more hype around it, honestly, and I agree with both of you guys on that topic.
And we will. And we are going to have people from VS on the podcast in the coming weeks to talk about what's happening in the scene for next year, and what VS is going to look like next year. But VS is going to be the premier competition, the premier local competition, and I'm determined to make that so. So we will definitely see that happen. And I think that is pretty much going to wrap it up for us, unless there's some burning issue we didn't take up, Sean.
Wait, what's that? Sorry, say again. I was reading.
Is there a burning issue we should have taken up that we didn't? I think we've covered everything we needed to.
Not that I can think of right now. I think we covered pretty much a lot.
We covered pretty much a lot, Bromeo.
I'm trying to think of anybody who haven't insulted the stream yet. I can't think of your name right now. I'm sorry. I am thinking of insults. They will come.
We haven't insulted Flosi yet. We should.
We haven't insulted Flosi yet. Flosi, I don't like the color of your text chat. It's rather feminine. So, no, I'm really excited. This has been the first podcast that hasn't been, RSC centric. And I just want to say I'm very excited of this new format, and just want to pour out some beer for 180 milliseconds too late and give you a bit of love, because truthfully, you've been carrying the season, the scene by yourself for years. And I think it's really, really cool that there's been a greater level of interest to match yours. And we as co-casters can never match your passion, but we can certainly try. And I'm excited to see where this podcast will go.
Listen, I got to tell you, I'm thrilled to have people on it. Doing it by myself was a bit of a loveless task sometimes. So I'm enormously excited, and I will put out a call. We do need to rebrand this podcast, so I'm looking for help to someone who can help with that. I have a modest budget. I'm not asking for free work. So if you want to help me rebrand Just Saying, then get in touch with me, and let's make it happen. Daps. What about an RSC LAN? All I'm going to say, Daps, stay tuned. Conversation to be had. Peace out, guys, and the next podcast is next Monday. Bye!